nobody owes you anything. You have to pull support to you. And you can get real mad about it if you want to. But if you build a service that's useful, people will come to you.
This is the Startup Junkies podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Startup Junkies podcast. Thank you for tuning in wherever and however you're tuning in from. My name is Daniel Koonce, and I'm joined here today with my co-host, Caleb Talley. Caleb, how we doing?
It's a wonderful day in Northwest Arkansas.
It's a little chilly.
A little balmy day, and
hands are a little dry. I got
you
lotioned up a little bit. But other than that, it's a beautiful day.
Indeed.
We are joined here today by our new friend, Miss Robin Atkinson. She's the founder and CEO of Upkept.
Perfect.
Robin, how you doing?
Doing great. Really glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. So the way we kind of like to start these episodes, our other host, Jeff, kind of coins it as the Marvel origin story.
Oh.
So give us Robin's origin story.
We're not sponsored by Marvel, though. We don't have the approval from Disney to say that, but we will continue to do so.
Not sponsored yet by Marvel. So give us the Robin origin story.
Yeah. So I have a long history of founding nonprofit companies. So I started my first nonprofit company when I was 17, sort of almost by accident. And then I was in the nonprofit arts and culture space for the next 20 years. And then as I was working on trying to figure out the unit economics in apparel manufacturing in the United States, as one does, I had a kind of epiphany that repair is easier to do, perhaps in the United States at scale than actual inline manufacturing is. And I know this isn't, it sounds like that's not an origin story, but it is sort of how I got to where I am now. I mean, coming from an arts background is always very, you think that can't possibly be useful. But it was, I've done a lot of creative problem solving over the years. And, I had this epiphany moment of, from a workforce perspective, repair is easier. And then what are the solutions on the market? And I looked and I found out that there weren't any. And I thought, I'm going to use my curatorial degree to start a apparel repair company because that makes perfect sense. But I think that the common thread across the entire story is just looking at things from a weird angle, like never coming to a problem directly on, but always coming from like a weird side entrance and looking at it differently and being able to say, it's really weird that you guys aren't doing it this way. Have you thought about doing it this way? And that's pretty much the entirety of my career.
Yeah. And I want to get into what you're doing now with Upkept. But first, how does one accidentally start a nonprofit?
Yeah, I know. This is a great question. So I was kind of the youngest kid involved in a very cool art collective. So I was like the kid sister of this. Everybody else was like in their mid to late 20s. They were very, very cool. I was 17. I just gotten my braces off. And I was like, this party is really cool and everybody's doing these art shows and everybody's coming and it's really fun. But like, how are we paying for everything? Like the kid wondering.
We'll worry about that later.
Right. I'm like, well, how, but how are we going to, okay, so should we charge at the door? Like, how are we going to pay? Do we pay the artists? How do we pay the bar? Like having all of these really silly logistical questions that kind of nobody particularly cared to answer. And it's very weird that I was the one asking, but, I was my day job in between classes in college. I was a receptionist at a law firm. And so I talked to my boss and I'm like, I don't know what you do. What happens next? And he was like, well, you could make a nonprofit. So I think that's how we did it. Again, it was a sketchy time.
Sounds like it.
But basically it was this, the collective was called Artemis. I entered into it very, very young. And then somehow, because I kept showing up, I got put in charge of it. And then at some point I was like, I guess we should have a nonprofit. And I think there were probably more steps involved. But that's kind of how. I think just continuing to show up in the room. And then at some point, someone will put you in charge, which is
that happens.
a little bizarre. Yeah. What is it like? It's the consequence of being competent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You get synonymous with responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's how that happened. And I did that for many, many years. And then I transitioned that somehow into working on America's largest ever international contemporary art biennial. Mm-hmm. Because I asked, can I work here? And they said, yes, which I thought was insane. I was way underqualified. I didn't have a degree yet, but they needed somebody who was going to be really scrappy and just sort of solve everything that came in front of them. And I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, I don't know what I don't know yet. So I think this will be super easy. And then I found out after I took that job that I was like the fourth person to enter into that role. Everybody else had quit because it was horrible.
It was so amazing.
Yeah, it was. But I was like, this is fine. We're just going to do it. We're just going to get it done. And again, I just kind of got it done, which is really weird. And then and after the show opened and we had a little bit more time to think about it, it was explained to me that apparently that was really difficult, what we did. I was like,
I think it's almost a specific personality trait or like an individual in the workforce that has those personality traits. Where I'm just going to figure out how to get it done and get it done in the moment. I mean, all of these moving pieces, and there's just like an inclination to not step away from it and just do it.
I hate to say it, but it's kind of like the Legally Blonde thing of like, what's supposed to be hard?
It's just like just doing it, and just kind of eating that.
Well, I think what it really comes down to is there are certain people, lots of people, who will tell you all of the reasons why something can't be done. And like their job is to figure out all of the reasons why something can't be done. And I've always just been somebody who's thought like, there's a way. Yeah. We'll figure it out. To my benefit at the end of the day, right. But I do think that's definitely an entrepreneurial mindset. And also a little delusional. Like it is a little bit.
You have to have a little bit of that.
Oh, yeah.
Have to have a little bit
Otherwise,
of
you're no fun.
Yeah. That Amelia Earhart quote, the best way to do it, just do it.
Is to do it.
Just do it.
It did not end well for her.
No, but she tried her hardest.
She tried so hard.
Yeah, she really did. Well, tell us, Robin, a little bit about Upkept.
Yeah. So, I mean, Upkept is new. It's really new. It's we incorporated in April, and it is meant to be the online apparel repair and alterations platform. There isn't one. We're trying to build the one. And as I'm sure you guys know, because you work with a lot of founders, the first 18 months is a real
grind
slog. I was thinking about the Never-Ending Story earlier today. It's the swamp of sadness, I think is what that place is
You're going to make me depressed. The horse?
Yes, Artax. So it's not that I'm there. It's just that I'm a little bit there. But this is what you sign up for, right? Like, the first 36 months of building a direct-to-consumer online platform is going to be hard. Like, there is no such thing as fast-forwarding through the first bit. So I'm very proudly in the, there's the startup graph of like initial enthusiasm, and then it shoots down and you're in the trough of despair, and then you slowly climb out of it. I'm like very proudly in the trough of despair. I think it's we took on launching something that's meant to be industry changing, right? And we took it on from the scrappiest bootstrap your way into it perspective. And so going in, I had to look in the mirror and say, you're going to be really unhappy and kind of poor for 36 months. And just like every day, this is a choice that you've made and that you did on purpose.
Well, I commend your positivity through it all. Yeah. Like, it is extremely impressive that you're able to kind of laugh about it.
Well, otherwise you don't go on the podcast. Because you're like, I actually don't have anything good to say.
Anything.
But I think it's worthwhile for founders to hear that it actually isn't always amazing. That there actually is like quite a bog in the beginning of anything, and that it's still worth doing. And also, it doesn't make you a failure just because you didn't succeed immediately. Like, we are starting to get traction, which is great. But I also knew that year one, no. No, I mean we're building, and what I can say I'm incredibly proud of is that we have built a proprietary online platform for apparel repair, which didn't exist and now it does, and it has a consumer-facing front end that didn't exist and now it does, and it's supposed to simplify repair. So one of the things I found from the industry that we're entering into is that the language is just very complicated, sort of needlessly so, right? Like, what's a blind hem? What's a seam taper? All of this language that people just don't have. And so we decided to try to extract it and make it as easy as possible. So you don't have to know anything about clothes to go online and get your clothes fixed, right?
So much more approachable.
Right. Because, I mean, studies are showing that 90% of Americans aren't going to tailors. And I think part of it is just that, like, I don't know
what is this process like?
Yeah. And like, am I going to feel dumb when I get there? And do I even know what I'm talking about? And so we were trying to make it super approachable. So we've built that, and that's great. And now we have a proprietary operating system on the back end, and it's working. It's software. We're building a software company essentially. So there's a lot of, every day there's a new thing to fix. And my sweet husband, co-founder, is the one fixing all of it. And so we're, living through that. And it's going incredibly well, but I would be a total liar if I said like, it's super easy and smooth.
Yeah.
Like every day is a new holiday.
I think a lot can be said for that level of self-awareness in an entrepreneurial journey, because I think that a lot of people go into it with a mindset of like, that certain percent of it's relatively small, but everybody's got like, in year one, I'm going to be cashing checks, or, there's this, I want to go work for myself. Well, working for yourself requires a lot of work.
Why would you spend 40 hours working for someone else when you spend 60 hours working for yourself
right,
with no pay?
I always joke and say like, my boss is the worst. She is really a perfectionist and is kind of makes me be on the clock all of the time. It's okay.
Yeah. So how does it work? I need, let's say, a sweater that needs to be repaired or a pair of jeans. How does the platform work?
So you just go to upkept.io, and there's a thing called the Repair Wizard. So you just click the Start a Repair button, and then the first question it asks is, what is it? So it's a pair of pants.
Right.
Okay, we know that. Fantastic. So you click pants, and then you go through the journey. Is it an alteration or is it a repair? And so even that choice, I think, is kind of hard for people. I'm trying to figure out how to simplify that. But an alteration is it, do you just need to change something about it?
Or am I fixing it?
Or is there a hole in it? And so as we go, we're learning ways to optimize even those kinds of decisions. But then you just click through, and it's, it can be up to 10 clicks if you have a particularly complicated situation, or it could be 3 clicks. But then you get to the end of the journey and you get your price right up front. And for me, that was really, really important because in the tailoring industry, price transparency is a huge problem. And so for me, it was really important that like, boom, it's $18. Okay, now you add shipping and you send it to us and then you're done. So the goal is for it to be incredibly simple. It makes it, the back end's really complicated because the front end's really simple, but we're figuring that out every day.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like it kind of, that coincides with a lot of what we see in consumer trends in terms of not just the need for a tailor that's accessible or someone that can make alterations or repairs, because I feel like people are more inclined these days to spend money on something that's going to last a long time as opposed to kind of the fast fashion trends of the past and kind of going along with those trends, but then also just the online nature of consumers now, where it's
truly everything.
They want to interface online. Right. They are potentially afraid of going into a tailor or having that phone conversation, and kind of the lack of transparency. And then just about most of anything that I go online, if I need to get a quote and it's going to take days and I have no idea, and they're going to want to talk about it for X number of days and hash out what the price is going to be, I'm probably going to go with the first option that is transparent about the price as opposed to anything else. There's like a kind of a movement in that direction.
I mean, I think convenience is key, right? We all have a million things to be doing with our time, and like wrestling over a hole in your pants just is not the answer. And so for me, what it really comes down to is I'm incredibly interested in Americans repairing their clothes, and they are not going to do it if it's hard to do. And so the trick is to make it as easy as humanly possible, because if you repair, or if you keep a garment for 9 months longer, you extend its lifespan by 9 months, you reduce its carbon footprint by 30%. And the statistics are just horrific. Americans are throwing away 81 pounds of clothing a year. Clothes are being worn 7 to 10 times before they're being thrown away. Only 25% of donated clothes end up being worn again. 75% end up in the trash. So we've got like a really bad apparel problem. And so my thing is, spend a third of the cost of the garment, fix it, wear it 2 more years, and then it can move on to its next stage. But it's just really silly that we're throwing away things because of a broken zipper. But again, nobody's going to do it if it's hard. They're just not going to do it. So we're really hoping to sort of popularize and help the idea of, but it can be done. It's not that hard because we've made it easy. And it was really hard to make it this easy.
We've done the hard part for you.
Yes, exactly.
It's really easy for you. It's really difficult for us.
Exactly. Like, you have no idea what the back end of this thing looks like. But I will say one thing about it is it's such a small industry, like so small that it's a little bananas. When I first did the research about, okay, what are the options on the market, I saw essentially nothing, which is why I thought, well, there's no such thing as a hole in a market. So let's, if this truly is a blank space, like let's run at it as fast as we can. I've found a few people kind of entering in, trying to become competitors. And what's amazing is because the space is so small, I'm on the phone with the CEOs of all of these companies now. Because there's like 5 of us. And it's really interesting to be in a market that's building itself. And these are competitors, but they're willing to get on the phone and talk about like through the logistics and the process and customer acquisition and all of that, because we're all trying to build the industry together. And I think that's really interesting. It doesn't happen that often. I was on the phone with a CEO today, and halfway through the call, I was like, this is the guy that's going to put me out of business, which is nice that I identified him, right? Because everybody else I've met have been like, meh, not the same space. This guy knows what he's doing. And that's fantastic because it means that I now know where we need to niche down and how not to. And then how do I figure out how to collaborate with this person instead of compete with this person? And that's not every industry. You can't just like hop on the phone with the CEO of Shein, right? Or whatever.
So you said your husband's the one repairing the clothes, correct?
Yeah.
Is it just him right now? Is he the alteration team?
No. He built the tech platform.
Oh, I completely just misunderstood that earlier.
But I really love the idea of my finance PhD husband being the one patching the pants.
He was patching. Okay, so that leads me to my next question.
Let him know that is going to be the topic of this conversation.
No, absolutely. Cash, the pants repair genius. He could do.
Yeah.
Could do.
Well, that wasn't the question then. The question was, what does the altercation team look like? And as you grow, how are you finding, more team members to repair these clothes?
So it's a very good question because workforce is probably the biggest barrier to the growth of the industry. So my alterations team is made up of folks that I've already worked with before, right? So in my previous role was the CEO at Interform. We had a school that taught sewn trades. And so I'm very lucky to have a very deep bench of people who know how to sew and who are interested in coming on board. So right now I'm working with a repair director named Victoria, her specialization is in bridal. And my sort of feeling was, if you can do bridal, you can do jeans, right?
Yeah.
Like if you can get the most important garment someone will ever wear correct, you can probably fix an overcoat or whatever. And then we have another repair designer named Karina Hazara, and she's amazing. And she does these really, really cool creative patches. And there is a lot of creativity involved in it. And so we're my hope is that we get to scale relatively quickly. If I can lock in a few conversations that I've been having, we will need to expand our capacity pretty quickly. And luckily, there's a lot of people in the region who are interested in, well-paid sewn trades jobs.
Okay, that's good. Because I thought it was just your husband doing it, and it was like, well, what do we do? We have too many clients. His fingers are getting sore.
We lock in a big B2B, and I'm like, to the warehouse, sir.
There you go. Well, that actually I have another question. I can redeem myself here.
Perfect.
Who did your website and your branding?
It's okay. I built the original website on Squarespace in like a day, and that was fine. And then so that's how we launched beta. And I think it's really important. You do not have to get the brand perfect to launch. Like
It'll never be perfect.
It'll never be perfect. And if you spend too much time like fretting about whether or not the brand is perfect, you'll never, it just won't happen. So we launched a kind of terrible logo and kind of terrible brand identity. And I was like, just get it into the world. And then I tapped a designer named Shay Designs. Shay Anderson. Certainly her last name's not Design. So Shay built our new landing page, and it's gorgeous. And she came up with the "Fast Fashion is Dead, Long Live Our Clothes," which is cool. on our website, and it's so cool. And that's what I could afford was the landing page. And so someday she'll also design the other pages, which are like static, vibe coded.
Black and white.
They're not great, if we're honest, but just, one thing at a time. So I have had branding help from her. The original brand concept, like the colors and all of that, I came up with that. I always like to say that I'm like 65% good at a lot of things, and 65% will get you pretty far. And so you better believe that when the money's there, I will hire someone to like fully brand the company. But for now, I would say we're at like 72% branded.
Okay, that's good.
I think that's a good testament to entrepreneurs listening to in terms of getting the MVP, the minimum viable product out to your customer to get that feedback, to start the process, to iterate before, slapping any dollars behind a marketing campaign or a logo or anything like that. It's because it's really, it's the product that will hopefully at the end of the day sell it. So
I think that my background as an artist is really helpful here, right? Because when you're a painter, at a certain point, you just have to be like, well, this painting is done. And how in the world are you supposed to determine that? Like there's no flip that switches. It's like, yes, this painting is complete. And you learn about the potential and the value of works in progress, right? And that sometimes you have to show a work in progress to somebody to get their feedback, to get it to be a finished state. And then sometimes you take something that's been on the wall finished for 15 years and you're like, actually, this is garbage and I'm going to edit it and update it. And so it's like you stop getting so attached to finished outcome because it's like we're just everything is always in process. So yeah, I think that is helpful.
And I call it the entrepreneurial journey because it's always in progress in a sense.
Yeah. It's
fall in love with the progress and the process. And
I have this very silly habit of watching movies about people who climb Mount Everest. I would never, just FYI. I think it's very important to know that like I could never for many reasons, but like there's something about watching these people throw themselves at that mountain and just like the why of it all and then they get up there and they're like, and then half of them die on the way back down.
They join the graveyard of frozen bodies.
But there's something about just the immensity of that task that whenever I'm in like a build mode, I'll find myself putting on these documentaries like on repeat in the background. And it's like, I think it's a pretty good metaphor of like, you're not doing it because when you get to the top, something magical happens. You're doing it.
You're not like...
Right, the view's like, okay.
You can't see anything. It's clouds.
I mean, if you've ever been in a plane, like same. But it's about the fact that you did the journey and you and when you're building a company, you're like building and climbing the mountain at the same time. And there is something, both, again, slightly delusional, potentially idiotic, but also like really impressive about the ability to do all of those things.
Yeah. While we're talking about Mount Everest, when you do climb Mount Everest, do you know what you're looking at? You're not looking at the peak. You're looking at your next step.
Oh.
I got so many cheesy quotes. You said Mount Everest. I was like, I hope she doesn't steal my quote. She better not steal that quote.
It's like looking at this note card.
Like going from my notebook. I got them
this
all.
Mount Everest quote teed up.
I haven't had a chance to use it, finally.
I think that's a good point, too, and not to lose sight of why you're doing it and just the fact that you're doing it as opposed to that kind of like finality around getting to a certain point. Because I think about, that's, one analogy. I also think about like Lewis and Clark, and they go and come back, and there's that depression that sets in that it's like, we did it.
Yeah.
now what?
Now
Like
what?
my life has become this thing and I accomplished it. And so there's really nothing left.
Yeah.
So it's like falling in love with that journey. Now bring the mood down a little bit.
Yeah.
So what will you do when you have finally succeeded and all meaning evaporates from your life?
Well, you'll sell it and be a billionaire. And,
Wouldn't that be
retire.
nice?
What are you going to do with all your money?
I do think I'm going to climb Mount Everest.
After you endow Startup Junkie.
No, I think that it's also really important for people to understand that when you take on the idea of building a business, this is not a 2-year game. This is not a 3-year game. Like, you're locked in for a decade. And if you take somebody else's money, like, you are now in a marriage with
a treadmill marriage.
Right. And like for a decade. Like, this is not a casual undertaking. And I think that, starting so young, building organizations and having built many organizations now, I don't think I could have done this 10 years ago. I don't think I was mature enough. I know that's kind of silly to say, but I don't think I understood just how long is and like how much dedication it takes and how long it is until any kind of positive payoff. But I think, and I'm in my 40s. Barely. But
40 is 40s soon.
Yeah, okay, it'd be so cool. No, but I mean, I think there's something to be said about like, Sam Walton founded Walmart at 44. You've got to have a few failings behind you. You've got to have some experience behind you. But I also don't think, like, it is not too late to start whatever it is you want to start. I think, 40 and beyond is a great time to build something because you're not, like, what you're getting into, as long as you can keep your enthusiasm and your stamina up. And that's the big if, I think.
Yeah. Well, I've been sitting over here. I have an idea for you. I know you have so much free time.
Yes.
But have you ever considered, I'm going to ask you about the future of Upkept here in a second, but as you're building out this brand, have you ever considered, buying clothes that might be damaged and reselling those? Maybe?
So
instead of people throwing them away?
Yeah. There is a gigantic resale market right now that's crazy thriving, right? So there are places like Poshmark, ThredUp, Whatnot, Vinted. I would say if 5 years ago, if I had known that I could do it, I would enter the resale market because it is booming. I think now we're probably a little later than would be beneficial to enter into it.
Right.
I do think it would be very smart for us to partner with somebody like a ThredUp. And so I've been really encouraged recently, just in the last 2 weeks, we've had some really interesting partnership potential conversations with entities in this space. And I think that if we were to land a contract with a reseller, we would see our need for capacity triple in an afternoon, which is really cool. And it's
really
hopefully
cool.
coming in 2026.
Yeah.
What do you, so in thinking in terms of looking ahead in the future and those opportunities that are, potentially lucrative, what does capacity building look like for that? Like if you were to land that contract tomorrow and, the need for capacity tripled, how would you navigate that challenge?
So that's what I'm solving for right now, actually. It's like I can see the end of the bog of despair, right? We're almost on the way out. There's a few answers. I mean, one is you can do a seed round or a pre-seed round. We're strongly considering a pre-seed round next year. If I get an MOU or a LOI or whatever from one of these big platforms, we would probably sign one of those and then shop it around and see if we can't get some capital to scale. Or better solution, the company that's hiring you to do the work says, we're going to pay you half a contract up front so you can build what you need to execute it, and then we'll go from there. So that would be a better
get revenue out in
us.
front.
Yeah, exactly. But the good news is, I stay ready to scale. Like when I first launched, I was like so optimistic. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be so busy and we're going to need so many people because we're just going to be inundated with repairs. Okay. So like since day one, we've always kind of said like, hey, worst case scenario, we have to scale really fast. And so I look forward to having that scenario upon us. It'll be hard, but I would rather that kind of hard than like...
It's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have.
Choose your hard.
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that the long-term growth trajectory of the company, like where I want to land is direct-to-consumer because I think it's the biggest market. I think the direct-to-consumer repair market is like, it's very large, in my opinion. I think it's unmeasured. I think it's untapped. And I think that depending on how well you brand it, it can have kind of, the ceiling can be quite high. And there's room for a lot of players if we all agree to do it correctly. To get there, though, it's going to take a lot of brand deals. So it's going to be a lot of B2B contracts, and we've got to be able to fulfill those contracts, get unit economics correct, like all of the very uncool back-end stuff, and then simultaneously keep a consumer brand going. We've got a pretty good roadmap. I mean, I can see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I have a very clear visualization. And I'm one of those people that, like, once I can see it, now we're just at kind of like a matter of time before I get there, which is why I can so easily joke about it being miserable.
You get the map, and it's like, well, that part's, here's
scheduled
that swamp,
misery.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm right here, miserable.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which is fine because there's only 40 more miles, and then we get to the, less miserable passive interlude.
Well, you kind of just gave us a little bit of a look into the future of what it looks like for Upkept and yourself. I want to go back into the past. So you talked about, all these learned experiences that you've had in the last 10 years, even since you were 17. If you had a time machine, you can give younger Robin a piece of advice, what would it be?
This is going to sound, I would say don't burn the bridge.
Keep your matches in your pocket.
Don't burn the bridge. You can't rebuild a bridge. I was an artist when I was younger, and I had very big feelings. And I feel like I firmly believed things needed to be XYZ way. And if we weren't doing it XYZ way, like no compromise from me. And I think as I've gotten older and I've built more and I've seen more, it's sort of like, yeah, okay. Well, it's all going to be fine. I think that there are some things you really need to stay firmly planted on. But then for the most part, relationships are an incredibly important part of building anything. And it's really important that even if a relationship feels like maybe not vital today, life is super long and you just sort of never know. But I mean, I was like an artist and I had big feelings. And so, what am I going to tell 20-year-old me to like put the phone down?
What 20-year-old you have listened to?
No, not at all. Of course. Not at all. But like no phone calls after midnight. Just period for the remainder of your days. And I think I would have done really well. But, here we are.
Seems like you're doing really well.
I'm doing really well now. And my phone, like, she will not be picked up past 8 p.m. Because what are you going to talk about? No, you have nobody to talk to.
It's good policy.
I think so.
Well, if any of our listeners want to learn more about you or Upkept, where can they go?
So right now, I'm telling everybody my DMs are open. Like I am taking meetings with anybody who's interested in Upkept because I think that one, it's going to take a village, and two, I'm really open to all of the feedback. The way everybody interacts with the service is really important to me. So on LinkedIn, I think is the best place to find me for that. And then otherwise, you go to the website, upkept.io. There's a Calendly link. It's a picture of me talking to somebody, and you could click it and then be a person that I talk to. So it's really easy to access us. And I think that that's a really important thing too, right? Like, we're not building in stealth. This isn't a secret. Like, we absolutely want to tell you everything there is to know about what we're doing, and then also ask you what you think about it.
Cool.
That's awesome.
We'll make sure to tag all those socials in the show notes.
Perfect.
Robin, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great conversation.
And it does get better, I should say.
It gets better, guys. Don't worry.
I feel like startup is hard, but it does get better and it is worth it.
It's important to be honest, though, with that, because we've had folks on, not to go on another tangent, but we've had folks on the podcast before that they've almost gotten angry to the extent that when giving their younger self advice or whatever, it's hard. People don't help you. There's like this kind of, don't sugarcoat it type of thing. Yeah. Like it's real, but there's a way to look at it and be real and do it exactly how you're doing it.
Yeah.
And so you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I do. I'm just the thought to end on would be like, nobody owes you anything. You have to pull support to you. And you can get real mad about it if you want to. But if you build a service that's useful, people will come to you. So anyway.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share with a friend. Subscribe and review because it matters to us and we want to hear from you. If you're interested in learning how to work with us, check out the information below. See you next week.